So this is a shipping container project we did for a client a couple of years ago. They are a real estate company. They had a property manager at one of their sites but didn't have room in the actual building for their property manager and wanted a space built out so that the property manager could work there on site. They had an existing shipping container that they were using for storage, so they asked us to put another one on top and convert it. That last picture you saw was the parking space where we put it. Here's the shipping container. It's a standard 20-foot container, 8 feet high, 8 feet wide. This is the outside looking in. The wall, the solid wall that you see there at the end is where we cut in the door to walk in and out of the container. Now this is inside looking out. Those two doors there that you get in and out of the container with, that's where we put in a sliding door unit, and I'll show you that later on. We decided to go with metal stud framing, 25 gauge, 3 5/8 of an inch. You'll see we ran a rail along the entire top of the container, both sides and the end there. And we put that there so that we could push the studs off a couple of inches to give us a little bit of extra room for some electrical runs, some extra insulation we wanted to put in, and possible future plumbing runs. This is the outside. We're measuring where we're going to cut in the windows. You can cut a container using a grinder. You can use a Sawzall. We ended up using a plasma cutter because we wanted a really clean look. We wanted the windows to fit in perfectly. You don't have to, but it really helps if you have access to a plasma cutter and know how to use one. Here's a picture of one of the guys cutting in the door, the entry and exit door, and just welding on the frame. Here is the windows once we finish cutting them in. It's not the actual windows, but it's the opening for the windows. You see how clean it is. For the doors, the sliding door unit, which is here, we used a vinyl sliding door. Same thing, windows matching. We just bought the quickest, most readily available, inexpensive windows per the client. That's what they wanted. So we went to HD Supply and just found that sliding door unit there for I think $300, and the windows were $130 each. We walked out with them. So here you can see the framing. Again, notice the horizontal rail we ran along near the top. Then we put the track below it, and that allowed us to install the studs. We welded the studs to that horizontal rail, and that pushed the studs off the wall about an inch, inch and a half, which gave us a little more room. If you look at the very end there, you see where we cut in the door, where you'll walk in and out of the container. Windows on the right. Again, really clean, easy, simple. Best way to do it, I would absolutely recommend using a plasma cutter and doing it that way. This is where we put the sliding door unit in, and I'm focusing on the end so that you can see we framed 1 foot off of the edge on both sides, which allowed us to put the sliding door unit in there, and it fit perfectly. It's a 6 foot wide standard height, so it's 6068 sliding door unit. Here again, we're working on the framing. One of the guys is running some electrical conduit, and there again at the end you can see that's the door we're going to walk in and out of the container. You can't see very well in this picture because it's not close enough, but we used 3-inch tube steel, 3 by 3 by I think 1/16 of an inch tube steel to weld around the inside of the window frame so that our windows would slide in perfectly, and perfectly they did. So once we were done framing, we put all of the insulation, we put the electrical, we put the drywall, everything we needed inside of the container, rented a Gradall, lifted it up on top of that existing one. Here it is on top of the storage unit. Off to the right is where we're installing stairs. We were going to buy stairs. The stairs were going to cost between $4,500 and $5,000, so we opted just to make the stairs ourselves. So here's a picture of one of my guys welding part of the platform for the stairs. We ended up just using tube steel, some I-beams, some L-metal, and diamond plate steel. Took us an extra 2.5 days that we didn't anticipate, but I ended up saving about $2,500 on it, so it was well worth it. Here's a short video clip of the finished stairs. That's a whole process in itself, so I'll do another video on that later down the road if somebody wants to see it. Here, this is one of the windows. Once we installed it, again, we had the tube steel. On the inside of the tube steel, we put bituthane, and then when we pushed this window in, it fit perfectly. We caulked around the inside edge, and there's no water getting in this at all, so it's a great way to do it. Here's a picture of the exterior once we have the windows installed, the sliding door unit. Around that sliding door unit, as I mentioned, we framed about a foot off of it, and we used sheet metal to clad it with on the outside. On the inside, you'll see it's drywall, but put insulation between there, again, caulked it, waterproofed it, and it's great. You can see here the doors are open, and we inset the entire unit and also that sheet metal so that you can close those container doors if you need it for extra security. I don't think many people are going to be trying to climb up there to break in there, but in the chance or in the event that they do, it's pretty helpful. This is with the doors opened all the way. The container doors opened all the way. So again, it's also great for transport because you can close those doors and put this box on a truck and ship it wherever you want to. Okay, so stairs completed, framing completed. Now we're starting to insulate. You can see we cut in a light at the top. There were two 2x4 light units they wanted to put in. Since it's an office, they wanted extra light. So you'll see those later down the road. For the insulation, we used the R-Tech rigid insulation. It was the 2-inch thick, I believe, which gave us 7.8 insulation rating, R value per layer. We put 2 layers of that and stuffed some insulation back behind there. And this is the sliding door unit installed, as you can see. So we had a total R value of about 18 to 20. In California, the code is 13 for the walls, 30 for the ceiling. So we didn't have quite as much as we needed in the ceiling, but we had more than we did in the walls. So with the AC unit that we put in there, it's really comfortable in there, but this was not permitted. This is the drywalls. We're doing the drywall really simple. Again, in the top, you can see where we cut in for the light. On the left side, it looks like a window up near the top, but that's where we slid in the AC unit, and voila, here we go. This is the unit finished, almost finished before it's furnished. We needed to put the door handles and whatnot on it, but you can see the AC unit there on the left. You can see the lights in, the windows. Really simple. We used bamboo flooring, which I think was about $2 square foot. We just used a flat base molding. You can see right there along the bottom edge. So it's just a base molding. I think it was 60 cents a lineal foot. So it was a really inexpensive build out. There's our AC unit. Again, you can see the bamboo floors. The client didn't know what color they wanted to paint it, so they asked us just to prime it and paint it white. We put an outlet, a receptacle there on the floor, which is where they're going to put the desk. And here we're starting from the outside and walking back in. Just to recap, completed project. See the sliding door unit. We put a couple of bars across the sliding door unit so you won't fall out. No kids are going to be in there, so you don't really have to worry about putting a whole lot of fall protection. That's what the client said. We just want a couple of bars. So if you do have kids that are going to be climbing in these, again, you want to make sure that it's a lot more secure if you're going to be up on a second level with the sliding door unit. So here we are. You can see where the desk is. Again, this is a really simple build out. I know a lot of people really want to learn, but they don't know anything about construction, and they've heard a lot of the hype about shipping containers. I can tell you this, it is not difficult. If you go on YouTube and you watch videos for the trades that you need to learn in order to build out a shipping container with you and a friend, or you and a couple of friends, you can do this really inexpensive. Let's assume you pay $2,000 for a good shipping container. Whatever the price, I'll just take the price of the shipping container out. Materials, you should be able to get away with materials, assuming it's not up on a second level, probably $3,000 on the high end if you just want to do one container. So to recap right here, this is welding. That's something you should definitely look at some YouTube videos on and learn some basic welding if you want to build a shipping container. Drywall, you definitely need to learn. Flooring install, you definitely need to learn. Metal, you can either use metal stud or wooden framing, and there are a lot of videos on YouTube about either way you can go with shipping containers. Again, plasma cutter, I would say use a plasma cutter to get these really clean window cuts and door cuts if you can. But anything you need, it's on YouTube, and the videos are readily available. So if you want to do it, go on YouTube, spend 10 hours, learn what you need to learn, and you can absolutely do one of these even with no construction experience. If you've got any questions, reach out to me. I'm happy to answer anything I can or be helpful in any way possible.